Hey there, welcome back to another video. This time it is another rant. Haven't done one of these in a bit, at least not on a feature film. I don't even know if I even want to call this movie a film because it's barely even that. And the film that I am talking about today in this video is Escape Plan 2: Hades, which is a film that is so god-awful, so cheap, so pathetic that I wish I had an escape plan from watching this piece of shit, because it was that difficult to sit through. Escape Plan 2: Hades is easily, hands down, the worst film I've seen this year, and it's not even close. I mean, I've seen some movies that were disappointing, like Winchester or An Upgrade, but when it comes to overall quality or lack thereof, Escape Plan 2 is the film that ends up checking off all of those boxes. This film was a million times worse than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be bad, but I wasn't expecting this. This is one of those films that it's just puzzling, and there really aren't a lot of words. I mean, well, there are a lot of words, but it just leaves me speechless. It leaves me speechless with its incompetence, and especially with Stallone's involvement. He turned down roles for a film like Ex-Baghdad he could have done with Jackie Chan for this, and for the sequel that's coming out after this, which is probably going to be just as fucking shitty, because you have the same director who's a hack, who is incompetent, who doesn't know what he's doing, who is an absolute joke of a director. He's a disaster. This guy is a fucking disaster, Stephen C. Miller. The C stands for cock, because he sucked cock at directing. Can't direct worth a damn, and it shows. And he's also going to be directing the third one. Why? I have no idea. Probably because he's a cheap hire. You know, for a cheap movie, might as well hire a cheap director. Although the film somehow cost $20 million, which I failed to see any of that on the screen. Must have went to Stallone to get him to be in the movie. Maybe it's one of those things where it's like Stallone saw the script, it was like, this looks like shit, and Stallone would, this is my best Stallone impression. Maybe not my best, but it's an impression. This looks like shit. This looks terrible. I mean, I don't want to do this. What am I, that desperate for money? And then they'll be like, yeah, we'll give you $15 million to be in this movie, because we want to get some money out of the Chinese audience, because they're the reason why the first Escape Plan did fairly well in the box office. So we want to appeal to that audience. You'll just take a back seat to this Asian actor who can't act worth a shit, and then, yeah, but you'll get paid. 15 million? Alright, okay. I could use some money. So is this one of those things? It's like, it did say, I mean, and part of it's like, is it true? Is that really true? Does Stallone need the money? Because this is disheartening. This is extremely disheartening to see Stallone stoop to this level. To stoop to the Bruce Willis, Steven Seagal level and do direct-to-video piece of shit movies. It's just one of those things that's like, he was stuck in direct-to-video hell previously in the early mid-2000s. He got out of there, and now he's back. And it's especially disheartening because this is the twilight years of his career. He only has a few films left that he can do, and he's wasting that valuable time and that precious time with pieces of shit like Escape Plan 2: Hades. And Hades is an appropriate subtitle because Stallone is back in direct-to-video hell. And I feel like I'm in Hades, burning my insides and my asshole and my dick hole, watching Escape Plan 2. So anyway, Escape Plan 2 is directed by Stephen C. Miller. It's a hellish production with a hellishly awful plot, hellishly awful directing, hellishly awful writing, hellishly awful editing, hellishly awful action sequences. This is an action film, but there's not a single action sequence in this worth a damn. So yeah, it's directed by Stephen C. Miller. His direction, like I said, it's a fucking disaster. This guy does not know what the fuck he's doing. He's clueless. Maybe the C in his name stands for clueless. And Miller stands for Miller Time, because it's always Miller Time, because he's chugging fucking Miller beers all the time, and that's why his direction is shaky. Because he's fucking drunk off his ass and trying to direct at the same time. But anyway, yeah, I mean, the camera, there'll be moments where it's bobbing up and down as if he's fucking hungover or plastered while he's trying to direct dialogue scenes. There's other moments where he decides to be creative, but because he's incompetent and he's a dumbass and he's clueless, he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing, it just comes across as distracting. Like, there's a scene with Stallone speaking to 50 Cent and the camera's spinning around like it's on a fucking sit and spin. I don't know why. I don't know why the camera's spinning around in a circle, but it is. It doesn't add anything to the scene. It just makes you dizzy and makes you want to puke. The film's bad enough. I don't need to have the camera work make me want to hurl. Then you have just the typical quick cut shaky cam editing for the fight scenes. So they're super fast and there's not much to them. And you don't have any visceral intensity with any of the action or anything that really gets your blood pumping, and that's in large part because of the directing. And then the writing by Miles Chapman, it's a very, very forgettable plot. It's just a setup for another movie, and it's just one of those things. It's honestly kind of insulting because you're like, wow, this movie was pointless. It did nothing. Like, what was the point of this? Apparently, Stallone's character, Breslin, decided to start a security team business or something like that after the events of Escape Plan. It's called Breslin Security or whatever. And so his whole plan is to get this group of people to break people out of prisons across the world, which is not necessarily a bad idea. But when you have a budget of what seems like $5, that really does not help. And that makes it so you can't really do that much. You're very hamstrung. And so there is the son, I believe, or someone who's, well, not really, not the son. There's a guy who created the prison in the first one. He created a new prison called Hades, that's supposedly better than the previous prison that was featured in Escape Plan. And there was this other guy who was working with Breslin, who was like bearded man number 2. There's just a bunch of guys in his group that are just guys with beards. Dudes with beards. Dude bros with beards. So dude bro with a beard number 2, he's upset. And so he ends up becoming essentially the bad guy because he's the one that's running the prison now. And one of Stallone's crew members, who was essentially the main character of this movie, Huang Xiaoming as Shu Ren, he ends up getting taken by these group of guys who are working for this new prison, and they take him to Hades, and then it's up to Stallone to try to break him out, and he gets some help from 50 Cent, who returns as Hush, who was playing a very unbelievable role in Escape Plan as a computer hacker. And here he is, back again, playing a computer hacker. I mean, that casting is just as believable as the casting of Tara Reid as a scientist. It's like, really? 50 Cent as a computer hacker? I do not buy that one iota. And Stallone only ends up in the prison in like the last 20 minutes of the movie. or last 10-15 minutes of the film. So it's not really that he doesn't really do that much. He clearly is slower because he's an older man. He's in his 70s. He can't move as quick as he used to. He can't do as much. Which makes him being in shit like this even more frustrating. If you know you can't do that much, Sly, then don't do shit like this. Don't waste your time and your effort on shit like this. I mean, it's just like, he's such a good actor. He's an underrated actor. He's an underrated writer. He's actually a pretty good director. Why doesn't he just do a dramatic role? Why doesn't he just try to get a hold of some dramatic director, do a dramatic role again, and focus on that kind of stuff? Maybe get an Oscar nomination again, or maybe win an Oscar. I mean, come on. Take a page from Michael Keaton later in his career, do more dramatic roles, and then maybe be the next Clint Eastwood in terms of directing, because he's that talented. He can do that. Him wasting his time and effort on shit like this is a waste. And it's so frustrating as a fan of Stallone to see him go down this path. And I just keep wondering, is it because of money? Does he need the money? If that's the case, that's sad. Maybe it's because some of the endeavors he didn't work out and failed spectacularly. He had a magazine called Sly that only lasted a few issues. He had pudding. Yes, Stallone had pudding. It was protein pudding. It was called Stallone pudding. I actually did try it, and I gotta be honest, it was horrible. It tasted like ass. It looked like shit, and it tasted like shit. So, it's one of those things that's like, maybe he had too many failed endeavors, business endeavors that didn't work out, and now he's got to make money. I mean, I was wondering what was going on with Stallone when I saw that he was selling a lot of his props out of storage from a lot of his films. So I'm wondering, is he really that hard up for cash? What's going on here? Because if that's the case, then I can get why he's taking roles like this. Because he needs the money. But if it's not the case, then it's just like, why? You just want to be in the spotlight as much as possible? So like, well, I'm not getting that many offers for roles, so I'll just take whatever I can get? Have some integrity, Stallone! I mean, come on, man! This is embarrassing! It's embarrassing to see him in low-budget, pathetic, absolutely atrocious piles of shit. Like Escape Plan 2. So yeah, the script by Miles Chapman, nothing for me. Even has bad lines of dialogue. This is one of the lines that Stallone has. Actually, this is one of the lines, and I'll tell you another one. There's a scene in the film where Stallone is sitting in a chair across from another guy and the Asian lead, and he just says, "I'm stupid." And I'm like, yeah, you are stupid. You're stupid. It's pretty damn stupid, Sly, to do a film like this. It really is, especially after Creed and especially after this other stuff. You would think he's gotten back into the good graces of Hollywood. I mean, he was just recently nominated for an Oscar. I mean, I don't necessarily agree with the nomination. I think his performances in Rocky Balboa and Copland were way better than his performance in Creed, but he still got nominated for an Oscar. And now he's doing a direct-to-video movie? An Escape Plan 2 Hades? And he's saying lines like, "I'm stupid." Come on, man. And of course, the reason why he said that is because he was trying to get the Asian guy to teach him how to say "I'm stupid" in his language. But still, it's still a scene where Stallone is saying that I'm stupid. It's like, that's just lame. And then it gets even lamer with lines like this. After he and Bautista have one of their few scenes together, and Stallone and Bautista shoot up some guys in a bar, Bautista's like, "It's good to be back." And then Stallone's like, "Nah, it's bad to be back." Come on. Really? It's bad to be back. Oh, fucking damn it. Yeah! It's bad to be back. It's bad to be back in direct-to-video land. It's bad to be back in direct-to-video hell. It's bad to be back wasting your goddamn time with shit like Escape Plan 2. It is. It's bad to be back. I'm stupid, and it's bad to be back. It's almost like, were these improvised by Stallone? Because he's having remorse. He's on the set and he realizes the mistake he's made, and he's all like, "I'm stupid. What am I doing? Why did I take this role? No, it's bad to be back. I don't want to be here. You're right, it stinks." So, the film stars Sylvester Stallone as Ray Breslin, and I like how it says it stars Stallone. He's barely in the movie, folks. He's in it for I would say maybe just like a grand total of maybe 20-25 minutes in a film that's an hour and a half. It's 94 minutes with the end credits, but without it, it's actually a lot shorter than that. So, yeah. He's not in the film that much, and he doesn't do that much in terms of action. He has a scene in the hallway where he shoots a couple guys, and then there's this really shitty fight at the end he has with the lead bad guy, dude bro with a beard number 2. And that's it. Bautista's in this for an even briefer role. Blink and you miss it type stuff. He's in it with that one scene with Stallone where in the bar where he says it's good to be back. Then he shows up in one scene later where he's interrogating some guy, and then he shows up at the end and shoots a gun for a little bit, and that's it. That's really all he does in the movie. Huang Xiaoming is the one that does most of the heavy lifting, and he's crushed under the weight of the film because he can't carry it. He was clearly cast because, let's cater this film to the Asian market. And it shows. This guy can't act. He has the charisma of fucking chopsticks. This guy stinks like day-old sushi. This guy is awful. It's like he's like bad takeout. Gives you diarrhea. He's a mumble mouth. He has no personality. And I'm stuck with this guy as a lead. It makes an already bad film 10 times worse. And even his martial arts isn't that impressive. Because a lot of the time, it looks like either his blows don't connect, or it's just so quick, the editing is so bad, and the direction is so bad, it does him no favors. I don't know if he's bad at martial arts, or it's just a case of Stephen Clueless Miller's directing that's just ruining whatever potential he has. Either way, Shu Ren can shoo. This character can shoo, can go away. Jamie King is in this as Abigail Ross. Not much of a role. Pretty much just there, I guess, to be there to help 50 Cent and Stallone. 50 Cent is in this. Not even worth a fucking dime, as usual. Not even worth a penny. Like, this guy, why does he keep getting film roles? He's not a good actor. Jesse Metcalfe plays this guy named Luke Walken, who apparently he's one of the good guys, I believe. Yeah. And it's just completely forgettable role and performance. There's a random scene with this guy where he gets in it's just bad editing. Like, he just all of a sudden there's a car chase that randomly starts out of nowhere in like the middle of the movie. It's just a car chase. It doesn't lead to anything. The car chase isn't exciting. It doesn't get your adrenaline pumping. It's just there, and the guy gets captured and sent to Hades. Titus Welliver plays the zookeeper. trying to find this other guy, the guy who plays the villain, the main bad guy in this. It doesn't seem like he's even listed here. Really, is he not listed here? I'm just checking. I'm checking it. Kimbrel. Oh, okay. So Wes Chatham. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Wes Chatham plays the villain, Jasper Kimbrel, and it's this dude bro with a beard, number 2. He gets in a shitty fight with Stallone at the end, and Stallone just basically gives him a Stone Cold's a diamond cutter or a stunner, and it breaks his neck. It's lame as hell. He just grabs him. They get in a little bit of a fisticuff, complete with this shitty editing and quick and shaky cam. Grabs the guy, does a stunner, and it looks like shit, or a diamond cutter, or a form of it, and breaks his neck. And then it sets it up for a sequel that I really don't want to watch. I don't know anybody that would want to watch it. Is there anybody in the comment section that wants to see Escape Plan 3? I know I don't. And that's pretty much it. I mean, you have a few other actors. Lydia Hull, Chen Tang, Tyron Woodley, and Pete Wentz. And you have another guy. You have these group of guys who are like bald-headed, albino-looking motherfuckers who look like the Powder Patrol. Or they're related to the giant albino fuck faces from Prometheus. Because they're just these guys, and apparently there's some group of criminals, hackers, who decide to help out Shu and Stallone's character to get out of the prison. There's this whole the prison is run by a robot. It's controlled by machines and whatever and computers. So therefore it's more high tech and harder to escape. And there's this how they keep their prisoners in check is they end up giving them time in Serenity, which is like this place, this room that comes down from the ceiling, and it's got holographic imagery of a landscape, a beautiful landscape or whatever, and they get some solace, and they get some free time with themselves for a little bit. And they get it after they win a fight with another prisoner. So that's another way the film tries to throw in action, is little dinky ass fights between prisoners. But because Stephen C. Miller is fucking clueless, those don't really help the film. They just add to. They're just padding to the runtime. That's all they are. We don't have much of a cast. Even Stallone isn't trying. You could tell he's just slumming his way through this role, as if it was a role that Bruce Willis turned down, and Stallone decided to jump at the opportunity to replace him. I mean, this is the type of performance you'd see from Bruce Willis in shit like Vice, which also was released direct to video. The score? I don't remember much about it at all, other than it was generic and completely forgettable. It sounded like a score that at times didn't even belong in the movie, because it sounded like it was trying to be some Blade Runner-esque techno score. Like it was trying to be a score for a film that is not Escape Plan 2. Cinematography by Brandon Cox. Do I need to say anything more? I mean, his last name sums it up perfectly. It was Cox. The editing by Vincent Tabelon. Could we edit him out? Like, the editing was awful. It was egregious. It's some of the worst I've seen this year. And the film's 94 minutes, but it feels like it's 494 minutes because you don't give a shit about the plot. You don't care about any of the characters. Even Stallone's character is not much of anything because he doesn't show up until, what, 20 minutes in the movie? At least it feels like it. And then it's just him talking. Yeah, great. That's what I want out of Stallone, is him just fucking talking and doing more fucking dialogue. Because that's it, and doing narration, I guess, and a flashback to motivate Shu to stay alive in the prison. It's just, there's not much really to this film. Except pain and misery and suffering. And why did this make $13.2 million? I guess this got released in China. So it was only released in China in theaters, and it made $13.2 million. It doesn't deserve it. It doesn't deserve to make any money. It doesn't deserve to make a cent. Because it doesn't put enough of an effort. And even a 17% on Rotten Tomatoes is way too low. I mean, it's way too high. Forgive me for my error in judgment there. Like I said, just talking about this shit just keeps killing my brain cells. It better stop, otherwise I'm gonna be a fucking vegetable soon. But yeah, I don't really know what else to say about Escape Plan 2, except Escape Plan 3 Devastation. Come on. More like Devastation. Because this is a devastating, disappointing chapter in Stallone's career. And it's a devastatingly terrible movie. And I'm expecting the same from The Devil's Station. Maybe these films are from the devil or something. Because Stallone's one of my favorite actors. He's one of my favorite actors. And this is a nightmare. This is something straight out of hell to see him in shit like this. I don't know what else to say about Escape Plan 2 Hades, except avoid this film. Avoid it like the plague. It's not worth it. Even if you're a diehard Stallone fan, it isn't worth checking this out or watching it. Because afterwards, you're just going to feel sad. You're going to feel sad and upset and angry. Not only at the fact that you wasted your time with a piece of shit that has a story that isn't engaging in the slightest, characters that aren't likable, awful action sequences, clueless direction from Stephen Clueless Miller, egregious editing, shitty special effects. I mean, yeah, the budget definitely did not end up on the screen because the prison looks like a fucking laser tag arena. There are sequences where there's supposed to be like yellow electricity and it's just colored like piss. So that's fitting because the film stinks like piss. So it makes sense that it has things in it that look like piss. And the digital of CGI is some of the worst I've seen. I mean, it's Asylum level bad. There's a CGI explosion that's faker than fuck. And then you have another moment where there's this piss yellow electricity that looks like shit you'd see out of those shitty Nemesis sequels. Or a low budget Roger Corman production. So yeah, not only do you have the bad story, the bad directing, the bad action sequences, the bad characters, the bad acting, yeah, bad special effects. There is nothing remotely good or even average about this movie. I can't even give it any stars because there's nothing to give it. There's nothing that's of good enough quality for me to give this anything other than 2 giant middle fingers and a fuck you. So thank you for watching my rant on Escape Plan 2 Hades. And as always, I will see you later. See ya.